to the true originality, the true source. Now, when you look at the word Cristo, Christianity comes from the word Cristo. And then Cristo, um, from Greek, right? And the Greek, you know how the involvement with ancient Kemet, and it was known as Karast. Karas, Cristo. And then the Hindus practice a form called Krishna, right? Which is a form of Christianity. Krishna, Karas, in ancient Kemet. And I started thinking, I'm saying, what's that Christianity that people practicing now? Because when you go into, again, remember, your culture should be predicated on science and mathematics. When you look at the science of Cristo, the science of Christianity, Christian science, there exists Christian science. Christian science is like heretic science. They study the laws of hermetic principles and those laws. You just got to look it up. What is Christian science? What is the core? Also, Christology is Christian science. And Krishna, is synonymous, homonymous with crystals. What does a crystal do? The crystal vibrates at a high frequency. It reveals certain mathematical frequencies, right? And the crystal reflects the light, all the spectrums, right? So again, is those electromagnetic spectrum, the light. I guess when I do my podcast, maybe I'll take this and I would edit it and put some stuff in here about I think in Daniel when he's seen the Most High, when he's seen the Lord in His glory, he's seen crystals, beryl, amethyst, all the crystal. It was like crystal, because it was that light was refracting all those light of the spectrum together, and it was glistening and shining like a light, like a diamond. Look at a diamond as a crystal, and you see it reflecting all these lights. You know what I'm saying? So I wonder, and I say, where is true Christianity is not practiced today. Only there's certain pockets of people that really practice Christianity. But then what happened to Christian science is that it was invaded by other practices, and that all happened because of the European taking this science, and then of course the practice of Wicca, invaded, morphed its way in, amalgamated into the Christian science. Because in Christian science and hermetic principles, it don't work the tarot cards, it don't work certain principles. When you study Christian science and you go into like science of mind, and you notice that science of mind do quotes physicists and metaphysicists. They put the science together. You know what I'm saying? Because that's Christian science, hermetic principle. But then they also brought in the verdict and Madame Blavatsky and that type of doctrine that she taught, which is the secret of secret, the secret of ages. All of that comes from there because, again, this science has been fractalized. And some people run with this part and run with that part. And then they bring it into their culture. So when they brought it into the Wiccans, and then the Wiccan, so it's, all of this soup is what you're getting today, But the actual Christian science is hermetic science, hermetic principles. That was the recorder. Thoth, Tahuti was a recorder when Assad, when you look at the old ancient text and you see Assad ascending. You see the 12 judges, like the 12 disciples, you see Assad ascending, being dressed in a white crown and white gown. And you see him with a new life, rebirth. You know what I'm saying? Birthing as a Messiah. You know what I'm saying? So Tahuti was there. And you look at this. So this goes way, way back. So you look at Christianity today, it's not the same as what Christianity was. It's not the same as 1,000 years ago. It's been morphed, it's been invaded, it's been changed, manipulated, and stuff like that. You know. So that's what we're getting now. But the whole idea, like I said, it's a nature. The nature of messiahship, the nature of purification, right? Of reflecting the light of the spectrum, right? That nature, that Cristo, that nature has to be predicated on the science. And a lot of time that science is actual physics. And the science, the solar science, the harnessing of the sun power, and this energy frequencies and stuff like that. So all of this come from ancient practice, and it's all over. Yeah, I mean, it's there. You just have to focus your mind on it. You know, we just have to focus more on that, if you know, and understand that that's part of a culture. You know, so I know that there are people with good hearts out there, but um, they've been lied to. They call themselves Christians, but they're not practicing true Christianity. They're not. They're practicing something that a pastor is giving them, or what certain men who had those secrets and kept it to themselves. In other words, mum's the word. Masonic schools did that also. Masons did that. Most of all of your schools of thoughts in Christianity, like Jehovah Witnesses, the ones who started Pentecostal, Jehovah Witness, all these different type of sets in the Christianity school were Masons, and they were vowed to a secrecy. Mum's the word. But if you go and you search a lot of the Masonic books, you get to see and Masonic books that talks about this type of hermetic science and principles and physics and learning how to harness the energy centers. All of this is available in books, Masonic books. So a lot of these Masons did this. They hush that knowledge. They hushed it. They hid it because knowledge over a thing gives you more power than everybody. If I have a certain knowledge over you on a certain things, I got power over you. You know? So we really have to look at, really have to really have to think about things. You know what I'm saying? And but that's why I'm here. You know, I'll present these things over, and I want people to get back at me and let me know what have they found. Have they searched deeper into their science? Because if you're gonna call yourself a Christian, then again, that nature of Christianity needs to be predicated on science and mathematics. If you're gonna call yourself an Israelite, it's the same thing. Isra means to rise, ascend. Israel to El. El was the deity of the Canaanites. Because these Ibri people from the Indus Valley traveled and were allowed to be amongst Canaanites and marry within it and took some of that customs. What do you think that those Sumerians, Chaldeans, Hyksos, when they went into ancient Kemet, that they didn't take some of that teachings with them? And that's where they birthed Judaism. That's where they birthed that school of thought called Abrahism, of the Abrahamic faith. And if you look at the word Abraham, Ibri, because you have Ibrahim. And if you look at him at the end of a word like Elohim means plural. So does Ibrahim, a people. A people that came from Chaldean but came into other areas and mixed. These were herders. These were herders and farmers. They came into a certain area, amalgamated, and took on some of those principles. And so birthed Judaism. And Muhammadism, the same thing. Where people from Syria mixed in with the Nubians. And the knowledge of the Nubians that formed Islam. East means within. Within salam, peace. Within the peace. So it's, this is doctrine. I've learned this through Pa'anabayenu, a man. I read some of those books. At the same, also, I checked it out and I looked into my own experiences with religion, my own experiences with these school of thoughts. You can't just, like I said, you got to put those pieces together. So I take a piece from here, a piece from there. I take doctrine from here. I take books from here. I listen to Irvin Serma. I listen to Dr. Ben. I listen to many different, and I put those pieces together to see, and using the facilities, the faculties that you have of intuition, right? And in this case, clairvoyance, seeing that clear path when you see a clear path in front of you. So, I just wanted to address that, that the other day, person out, you Israel? Yes, I'm an Israelite. I'm in Israel, even though I don't lean more to the El, but El was also Al and Anu. El, Al, and Anu. Or An. No, I'm sorry, not Anu. An. El, Al, and An. I'll drop that on you at another time. Well, real briefly, you got An, Anu, Anunnaki. Then you have El, Elah, and Elohim. And then you got Al, Allah, and Allahumma. You see how the pieces how it fits together, and you see the similarity. It's just the area you're in. If you have genetics from this area. And a lot of us are so mixed. There is no pure race up here. There's no pure race on earth anymore. There's none. There has been so much entanglement amongst us. There's none. The closest ones that are pure DNA and pure bloodlines, right? Are the nomadic Twa people. They're nomadic. They don't mix with anybody. And then you have the Bedouins up in the Sahara that nomadic. They don't mix with anybody. Those are the ones that came, that got bloodline all the way back into Syria. Because Abraham was Chaldean and his wife was Syrian, Chaldean. That's in the scriptures. So this culture they brought, and they spent time with amongst the Canaanites. And it was the Canaanites that called them Hebrew. And then when you look in further on, you see wherever they travel, they named that area. They named it. They took their language and named certain areas. And you can see when you trace it back linguistically, because remember, everything has to fit perfectly together. So you go into the linguistics of it. And you see these proto languages, these languages, you see how they develop and what area was what. And you put those pieces together. I'm just going off the fly right here, It's just that it just I find it, I'm more and more, I'm finding it kind of like, wow, people that claim to be Christians and think that because they go to church and their pastors is quoting verses at them, which are like stanzas in music, a verse or in poetry, a verse, right? They think that makes them Christian. But then they don't understand the whole Christian science. And what it is to be a true Christian is practicing this science. Because that's what the prophet of that particular school of thought named Jesus Christ did when he practiced a lot of those principles. And he spoke a lot of these principles and ideas, and you hear it. That's Hermetic science. Where do you think he got that from? He learned that. He had a teacher, Al-Khidra. Melchizedek was his teacher. Melchizedek, which was the king of Salam. Melchizedek, that Abraham even met. And you say, well, how can they be? Because that is a personality, a character that it's in a man at a certain time. Character and personality can travel through ages and could reincarnate in certain people. I'll discuss that some other time. That's too deep. That's going in real deep. But that's biblical also. That's script. That's in the scripture. Because remember, scripture's a script. You got characters in the script. You got characters grid. And they take it off from these character personalities. That's what they call actors of spirit cookers. They call them spiritual cooking, spirit cooking. That's why some actors can't deal with it life. Because they're so busy, especially the method actors. They're so busy they get this role and they're trying to become that role, and then later on they can't get out of that role. It harmed their acting career. It happened to a lot of actors. Prominent actors that had certain roles in life, like Superman roles and stuff like that. They couldn't shake that role from their life because that spirit, character, personality clinged on to them. That was it. Got to pay attention to that. Actors are very spiritual people. They understand this. They get into character. And that's what spirit, they get into the spirit of thing and the breath of that character and personality. That's why, was it Shakespeare? Well, Shakespeare wasn't really his name. That's why that particular author, writer, right, said that life is a stage. Well, his pen name was Shakespeare. Life is a stage, and we're just actors on the stage because we're spirits with character and personality. Once you get to know your character and personality to a point, and you get to know that, you become more spirited. And you say, that's a spirited person. He's in his character. He knows his character and personality. So he's a true character. He knows himself. That's why it says, know thyself. That self within you, that character and personality, it's all around you. That spirit is what also houses the soul. That submerged consciousness, that subconscious, that is your feelings, that create habitual habits. And those habits create paradigms for you. As all of this is spiritual work. You could put a certain spirit, a character in the personality, and that feeling, that connection in the soul, and you could put it. Next thing you know, they start creating habits around that particular character. It's some shit going on. Another thing I want to speak about, it's about the earth magnetic field, how percussion tribes in Africa. That's the magic. That's magic. That's black magic at its best. Because, and that's what the Yoruba, that science is what they harness. Because of the rhythms and that tribal, that magnetic field when you deal with the drums, those tones, those frequencies with the drums, that rhythmic field, it stirs up the magnetic field. That's black magic because when you look at the spectrum, right? When you deal with earth magnetic field and the color of that spectrum is blackness, which is the possibility of anything to exist. That's why, magic is like that. It's magical. It appears that possibility for that to flourish and to reveal itself happen. So you work in that space. So when you deal with these percussion, when you deal with these tribes, African tribes and Yoruba tribe, and Native American that start stomping and start creating this rhythmic pattern, and they deal with the earth magnetic field because that's magic. That binds community, that binds character and personality spirits together. It binds everyone together. All you have to do is be when they're playing drums, and you see how it draws those spirits and it clings them together, and they become in one, moving in as one. That's magic. They use that in war. Even the Irish use that in war with the drums, the snare drum, the drum, and you look at the marches and the drums. Because it clings those spiritual, those character and personality together, on that focus, and then that earth magnetic field, that grounding. Like I said, it's a magnetic field, a magic magnetic field that if you're doing the right thing, you can make it work for you. Can make it work for you. We can make it work for us. That's why a lot of times they fear when certain people get together and start drumming. They fear that because they harnessing that spirit, and it calls you. You can't help but be there. I've seen it. I'm telling you. I worked for so many years at Islands of Adventure with a World Beat. We used to be in City Walk, and then we went to Islands of Adventure. We worked there. Islands of Adventure, we played. It was percussion. It was doom doom, djembe, conga, doombe, depending on the percussions we had. And we'll get together and we'll play, and a trap drum. And the power that people would hear that when they first come into the park, and they come right straight to us. It drew people. After a while, some people, if they can't resonate, they stay away and they just walk away. But guaranteed, they're listening. Especially kids love it. Children love it. And you see the power we had. We used to have crowds out there, yo. We used to have crowds. And then with the dance, and we used to put them to dance, and they move all in one. I used to love the Brazilians coming to Islands of Adventure because the Brazilians already are used to that. And when they hear those drums, you see them all lined up, and they were all dancing together. And people from churches too, when they had I forgot that dance to the left, to the right, they would do that also. Because that's what the power of drum does. The power of rhythm. So, it's that magnetic, magic, electromagnetic magic frequency electromagnetic magic frequency. It's magic because it has a subsistence, something, an etheric something in there that's moving that character and personality, that which we call spirit in us. Churches are the same way. There's some pastors that got a rhythm flowing because they reverse. They got a rhythm flowing, and they're up there in the rhythm, and they have a rhythmic feeling, and the stomping of the feet and the hand clapping, all that. That's magic. They're harnessing one of the electromagnetic magic field, which is the earth magnetic field. And we have to be careful with that too. There's people that go to the cemetery and they do that, and what they're doing is necromancy, and they're bringing up, spiritual debris. So I call it spiritual caca, spiritual debris. They're harnessing that. If you don't know what you're doing with that, then I don't advise anybody to do that. You have to be very, very careful, very school, because there's people that can use that type of frequency and magic, you know what I'm saying, to achieve certain things. The people that can use a negative frequency and achieve a positive one, because they know the polarity, they know how to balance that. But that's not everybody. That's not everybody. That's not a practice that I recommend either. You know what I'm saying? Because you can get caught up in that. You can get consumed in that. And that's a little too dangerous. Like Vito Corleone said. And that's a little too dangerous. So there's so much to science, man. There's so much to the science, and we see it. This is real, Christian science. One thing that the slaves did, and the Native Americans, and the during the time of the slaves, and they seen them. They didn't want them in the church, but when they got into the church, they see how they perform these. They were ancient African rituals and ancient African practices that they brought to the gospel, the ghost spell, a spell. They brought that in there. And then and also in the Caribbean with the Yoruba tribes, they hid a lot of that amongst the Catholic religion. Santa Barbara was Shango, right? You had the different saints. Santa Clara, all the different saints. They hid the African science behind that. Olofi and Elegua, they hid all these spirit, character, and personality that carries certain rhythms with them. Certain rhythms with them. I know because I played in some of these what they call bembe, and one of my teachers, Giovanni, when I used to play bata in the middle of the night, because he's very invested into that. He's what they call a babalao. And he's a palero too, he's a babalao, and he practiced that. So he did things at a certain time at his home, and I was there, so I would play mainly in Concolo, which is the timekeeper, And so this practice, like I said, this is ancient. It goes back a couple of thousands of years. So these rhythms travel from thousands of years into the Caribbean, and then into the America. Other rhythms carried also. I was watching a podcast with James Smalls, and when he went over to Ghana, and they were playing drums out there, he went out there and started playing a certain rhythm, and they told him, no, don't play that rhythm. Why? Because if you play that rhythm, you're asking for help. That means help. And he was like, but that's the rhythm that we play in Louisiana, in America. So right there with the drums, they were conjuring up and asking for help. They were sending out messages, help. That's very interesting. Very, very interesting. So genetically, because Earth magnetic field deals with genetic footprints. You know what I'm saying? Your DNA, it deals with those genetic blueprints and ancestry patterns. It deals with that. You know what I'm saying? So that's wow, man. That's a. I would love to dig deep into that and do a podcast and just bring up pictures and bring up books on that. You know what I'm saying? You know. But I'm studying. I'm studying other things, so I have to dedicate my time to certain things. I'm doing well with the option trading. Right now, I'm at the point, I'm doing paper trading right now. I'm trying to learn the system really good before I can actually get in there and start doing trades. Because the first part is you have to set up your screen. I use Weeble. In Weeble, you have to set up your screen the right way. You got to get to know what button to press and what to do, so that when you get ready, you can see. You can form your strategy. You know what I'm saying? It makes it easier. So all you have to do is get on that Weeble, and everything. You have your layouts already set out for you. And then when you get to that point when you says, "Let me start putting in puts and calls," you know, once you start doing puts and calls in what they give you monopoly money, when you sign up for Weeble, you get $1 million worth of paper money, but you're actually trading, but it's assimilating trading. The trade is actually going on, but you're at the sideline, right? You're at the sideline, like in a game. You know what I'm saying? You're not quite in the game playing, but you're on the side, but you're watching the game, and you're getting to see how the game is it's working. You know what I'm saying? That's day trading and option trading. You know what I'm saying? It's interesting. Shout out to I don't know if you're ever gonna see this, K Solo. I understand, brother. You know what I'm saying? His brother had a podcast, he's doing very good, but he kind of like, you could see when he was doing his podcast, and I said, "Well, bro, you're having fun, and we hell with it," but that wasn't the place to do that. You know what I'm saying? Doing that podcast, so he kind of like fell back. He kind of like fell off a little bit, but he did it. That everybody saw it. That was on there. And if he doesn't, he gotta take that video down, because if not, it's gonna follow you. But it's on the internet, so it's there for life. Even if you delete it here, it's always gonna be there in the metaverse. So algorithms already set. They're out. It's out there. So be careful whatever you do on the internet. Whatever you do on the internet, you have to be careful. You know what I'm saying? Because it's already there. Matter of fact, I think Obama has spoken about that I think in one of his when he was running for president, and when a kid, when they had children come on, and young kids, young children come on and ask president questions, and they asked, so the kid asked him, what advice would you give me if I wanted to be president years from now? And he says, watch what you do on the internet. He's speaking to this new generation. Watch what you put on the internet, because you create a footprint, a print, a particular print. Those algorithms. Again, a verse. It's the metaverse. So those metrical binary codes that are metrical, create a verse, and it's there. It's there. There's an infinite, and there's an infinite amount of verses. I think there's an infinite amount of algorithms too. You know what I'm saying? I don't know, because I'm looking at math. Is math infinite? Because math track can also is a language for time. Mathematics is a language for time, and time is infinite. When you look at the marriage, because what I've learned, all right, what I've studied and learned, the way it was put to me that made a lot of sense to me is that you got space, which is a vacuum, right? Space is a vacuum. So you have all the possibilities, all these particles moving around in space, and the vacuum is caught up in the space. But those particles are matter. anything that occupies space is considered matter. So it's occupying. What it is, it's moving. The matter is moving within this space, this vacuum. So the relationship, for instance, the distance, the relationship, the aging of this particle, that's time. Time is the marriage between space and matter. Time is your ager. I'm going to bring up some documents. People will say that's doctrine. The same. Yeah, it is doctrine because you remember the doctrine was taken from other doctrines. You know, and I was there. I know who sent Panabayanu that particular doctrine. I know who sent that to him. That he read it and used it. Some of that's because that's our science, and used it to make certain points and teach certain things within that doctrine. But that's another conversation. You know what I'm saying? And it's not, and let me tell you something. That's a practice. That's a very important practice. If you're a master teacher, you master the art of teaching, and that's part of teaching. Is getting data and collecting it and putting it in a form, reforming it and putting it in a form that is teachable. You master the art of that. So that's what a master teacher does. You know? Like Giovanni, a master teacher in the percussion because he was able to learn all these different type of rhythms and bring this in and incorporate it and teach it, demonstrate it. I said for it to become a teaching. So he mastered the art of teaching percussion. So it's important though. Like I said, for churchgoers, you know what I'm saying. I like the fellowship part. When you get to know, your fellow next to you, a fellow next to you, and you get to know, hmm, you get to know them, you know what I'm saying, through fellowship. And that's what's important, you know what I'm saying. But the versing, the teaching, ooh. But then again, they're feeding the sheeps. They're feeding your thought, and taking it gradual. There's certain things I can't even discuss with anybody. Why? Because it's not that you take an oath. It's that you know that it's secret. It's not secret. It's sacred. And you keep it sacred because there's certain people out here would take certain knowledge and would turn it around and use it to harm people, to con people. There's a lot of con people out here. I'm gonna bring up this person, but not that he's a con. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna say con artist or anything like that. I don't judge nobody saying anything. But I just wanted to, being that I'm just, shoot the breeze, like they say. I want to say that for those people who may want to see this later on, and I might even cut this and put it in the beginning of something, Polite was never a student, actual student of Dr. Malachi Z. York. So those people that are making analogy with pedophilia and stuff like that, no. Dr. York, and first of all, he's not in jail for child molestation. They threw that out. He's not in jail for that. He's there for RICO, structuring, and for the intent of transporting people, children, for the intent of doing these things. Okay? Not that he was actually found to have molested somebody. No. That's false. You gotta get the story, you gotta get the facts right. So, but there is slandering, there is lies out there. And so they say, well, he molested 35 kids to 40 children, right? Paul Light just got a case molesting one child. So I don't see how that adds up. He's not a predatory, they call a predatory or rape, a molester. You know what I'm saying? And when you're a student of somebody, is that person takes you under his wing. He's a teacher. And he takes you under his wing and he teaches you from mouth to ear, give you instruction, knowledge. That never happened, Paul. Like, he never met Dr. Malachi Z. York. Now, he read the books. He became a Mason. He tried to come up. He saw an opportunity for him to try to rise up in status amongst Nuwapians. That school of thought. But you seen what happened with that, if anybody know about that. So, students of this man under the school of Ansar was all those Ansar that came from the 1970 all the way to 83 when he was visible there. Now, when he went to the land, the Wapians, when he went into the land in Eatonton, he did come out and teach masses, people word from mouth to ear, and sat down and ate with people and had family day. Yes, those are students. Those are students when he's there. But then at that time, he strictly picked, I think, the triad, 3 individuals to teach, to become student teachers. That's how that started. Us that we were Ansars, yes, we were students because he sat us down. He gave us instructions. He sat us down. I mean, we ate with him, and he taught us there. Especially with me, he would sit down, he would teach me things. That connection. Pauline never had that connection. So he wasn't an actual student. Now, some people say that they read the book and they, oh yeah, and they opportunists and they want to come up, you know what I'm saying? They want to come up in the black conscious community and yeah, I was a student out in Europe, I know that, know this, know that. He's my, yeah. Anybody could say that. They could just say that just to get into the black conscious community, to cause certain debates, conversations, so they can get the views. You see how that works? Opportunity. As far as the scamming and all that stuff like that, I don't mess with him like that, so I don't know. I don't, you know what I'm saying? I don't do those things. I got scammed once when I did a mistake when I first came out of the hospital. I was in my down point and that person slipped right in there and conned me out of my identification. That's why I had to shut down my other Facebook page. It was Carlos Hernandez. That I had a lot of nice videos and stuff in there. And now I can't get in there because I was at my low point. And the person promised me a couple of $1,000 if I send him $350. I never sent him $350, but he told me, well, before you send me $350, I need your, we can do this through your Facebook account, and I need your picture, your license, and this and that. So you give him the picture. That's what I'm saying. You got to be careful when you give someone. There are certain apps that you need to, because they're dealing apps like Robinhood, or not Webull, but Robinhood. There's certain apps. There's Trust Wallet when you do crypto. There's certain banking apps that are gonna need you to identify yourself. But make sure they're reputable. You know the reputable one. But when a person comes to you and says, "Hey, the government is giving this amount of money for so and so and so," but in order for you to you have to register. You have to send me a picture of your ID. So they send you a picture of the ID. So what happened was my Facebook, Facebook in the beginning is locked. Nobody can get in but you, through your email and your password, right? But if a person could get in, if you give them your email, your password, or the person get in through identifying themselves by some means. They get into your account and they change your email and password. So therefore, you can't get in to your account anymore. And so you know what they do? They act like they're you and they start asking your friends for money. The only time that I went online, and I never do that again, with that fund me and ask for money, and I see how they take a lot of charge, was because I came out of the hospital and I lost everything. That was for real. I lost everything. And that was, yeah, everything, you know, living in a hotel, everything, and I wanted to get myself back on track. So I needed a little help and push. I said, let me do this GoFundMe. Let me do this. So I did that. That was for real. And that was under that account. And then the person stole that account from me, locked me out, and then acted like they were me. And the only time that you see that, and it's not that I ask for any money, is there's some people that like to give, generous. They like to share, right? So I will, right? I'm streaming here. You see me now, so I have my Cash App and my PayPal there. So if you're generous, like I do it all the time. People that need, I spend $5 here, $10 here. You know what I'm saying? It's nothing to me. And that's me. I'm here, and you see the tinker, right? This is me, right? And nobody can do this but me, right? But when you have somebody, I hate. I'll tell you something what I hate, and then I notice what they, that you got to be very careful about. When, again, they'll say, I'll give you 2 accounts. They'll say, I'll give you $1,000 if you can tell me if I was to give you if you could tell me what will you do with it if I gave you this $1,000. If you answer that person, then they'll say, so and so, inbox me. Inbox me. Now wait a minute, you sending a message. Why can't that message just be on there? Why do I have, what, inbox me? What do you mean by inbox me? You know what I'm saying? I caught this guy, and I love my African brothers. Nigerian. He was from Nigeria. A young guy. So I must have hacked into somebody's account. So that account will sound legitimate, That was a musician account, and a musician's account, a young lady, and it looked very, very authentic. So I contacted them and said, "Oh yeah, bye." So then you know what they tell me? "Oh yeah, I'm here. I need this. I'm here. This and that. How you doing? Let's get together and this and that. Get together. I know you like that. Well, let's talk. Let's have a conversation." So we're conversing on the internet. We're conversing, right? So I told the person. So I started, they were into, crypto. It was all about the crypto. You got to be careful because they say once you sign up for like Coinbase or something like that, then everybody start popping in there. Bitcoin trading, all this stuff starts coming up, and you have to be careful because some of these people in there, most of them hack other people's account, and then they're in there, and the guy wanted me to take a picture. I told you I'm into crypto, this and that. Well, send me a picture of your screen where you keep your crypto. Send me a picture. I said, hell no. I'm not taking a picture of my computer and send you that. No, that's not gonna happen, bro. No. And then I told him, well, this and that, and then he who was acting like he was a she, showed me the office. They took pictures, and I said, yo, that's a very nice picture, but everything looks so nice and clean, and it looks so organized. is that really a picture of where you working at? Oh yeah, yeah, we filmed it. Yeah, that's us. That's us. But I'm thinking it's a woman. And then I don't know what happened. I told him, oh, you know what? There's no way that I'm gonna take. I'll take a picture. I will go further on with this conversation if you come on live for me, live, because I think there's something not right with this. And you know what? The person that's stupid. They come on live. It was a young dude from Nigeria, and when he came on, he started going, making these noise, these faces at me, and I was like, "What the hell? What's up? You alright, kid?" You know me. My New York swag kicked in. You know, like, yo, 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 you alright, kid? Yo, what's going on, man? What do you got to be scamming people like this on the internet? And he was like laughing. I was like, oh, I drew him out. So I'm saying you gotta be careful with this stuff like that. So yeah, there's a lot of you know, so when you deal with, and that's the whole idea with scamming and deception. It's like I tell people, the three-car Monty, right there, that's a deception right there. You know why? Because there's not three cars. There's four cars. You just don't see the fourth car. And there's another person playing that has the fourth car. And he is slap, yo, what's up? And that guy pawns that car and you thinking that was three cars, but he's switching that car with another car, got it back here and say, yo, later. All right. And takes that car. That car that you're looking for is nowhere in that deck. And then they'll say, oh, the cops coming, boom, and hit the damn thing and walk away. And then you're like, yo, wait. And you say, oh, I just lost $150 with this dude. That's how it works. And as far as people coming on here and teaching you how to make money, I mean, I have certain information that I have paid for, but I won't pay hundreds. Yeah, the most I would go like $150, and for $150, I received like a good 16 hours. 16 hours of information on the cryptocurrency and crypto exchange. That's pretty good. 16 hours. So you're talking about $8. $8 an hour I paid for that. $8 an hour? Not bad. Okay, I can. And then another time, $100 to at least get. And what I like about Billy Carson is that when he did his presentation, he gave you a glossary, a PDF file of everything, and plus they formed a think tank, which I haven't really gotten involved in it because I am a subscriber to United the 99, which is an app that you got different format. It's the answer to Facebook. If people don't get on Facebook, they only go on United the 99. But at United 99 are specific blocks of interest. Like you got the option trading think tank. You know what I'm saying? You got the crypto, and then you got forbidden knowledge. You got you got certain categories. You know what I'm saying? That you can go in and chat with people about that. And it's by a hard-working man that started, and then you can tell he tells his story, and he's very spiritual, and he can tell his story and whatever. You know what I'm saying? What I like about him, I don't see him slandering anybody else. I just see him wanting to work with everybody, and say he's trying to bring up his content. You have to be like that. You're trying to start a what do you call that? A TV station, a broadcast station, a TV station, right? A broadcast station. Right now he has it online, but Ruko has his. It's right now. It's an app. It's a television app, like you would, like right. But AMC has it, an app like that. A Paramount Plus, HBO. They have apps like that. So he has one of those apps. But the things that they have is they have a all day streaming, all day streaming platform that streams all day. You know what I'm saying? That it's like a television station, like NBC. NBC also has an app, right? But they have a broadcast station. I don't think he got there yet. Maybe that's gonna be something maybe doesn't need to get into because the app worked just as well. You know what I'm saying? Just as well. That's how I'm learning editing because you got people out there with ideas, and these ideas that they have, you can become an asset to these their ideas because we're all working together. And it could be an asset. So if you become a good editor, create good content, good editor, then it's like on this app, I can have a show, which is editing very perfect, great content, deals with something that's beneficial to everybody, and so it becomes that in that, and then of course, create your own app. Like I'm only doing Python coding and programs. So I haven't gotten to that point, but imagine that you build your app. At the same time, your app can be merged with other apps, and you merge those apps together. You know what I'm saying? So it's growing and learning, and learning things, so as to offer these services. Because remember, it's hard. People can not. You gotta have a gift to making money. People can really show you how to make money because everyone makes money differently. You know, the main I know is the main denominator, right? That it has is that you should have more streams of income coming in, different streams of income, and there's wealth that are not like riches are now, but there's wealth, legacy wealth. You know what I'm saying? And that's people say, oh yeah, people talk about whole life insurance, and I spoke to somebody about whole life insurance, and let me tell you something, it's a good saving plan. Instead of instead of putting money in a bank where they're just yielding you 1 point, you find out with a whole life insurance, you're protected if something happened to you. In the bank, you're not. I mean, you can't get that out in the bank. You know what I'm saying? Under your savings. That's it. You just have saving and you have a very small amount of interest. But when you put it into other things that yields you a more interest, right? And more opportunities, more insurance, and that's when you deal with whole life insurance. Or when they combine merged of whole life and term insurance. Life, death insurance, death benefit. What they call whole life with a death benefit. But I'm telling you now, it's good for those young minds, the 30 years old. Now is the time to get into the whole life insurance, and you got to be making money because you're going to be paying every month, and depending how much you put into it in a month. But if you're a person that want to save $300 a month, instead of putting $300 in the bank, put into a whole life insurance, especially if you're 30 years old. Put into a whole life insurance. Because that's your future. Then, after a certain time, if it's a 10-year contract, right? Then in 10 years, you can draw, you accumulated dividends, and you can draw, or you can put that into your stocks. And you can create a good sustained stability when it comes to finance. Because when you have that, you know what I'm saying? And you want to get this toy, you want to get this and that, right? You just can draw out what you need. Or your children need this and that for school, whatever. You can draw out what you need without it damaging a dent, causing a dent within your finance stability. You don't create a debt, you know? So there's so much to this whole money thing. No one can just, there's no one formula. And people say, well, that there is a such thing as a private citizen and public. There are companies that are private companies, and then when they go public with IPO and go into the stock because they want to go into the stock and become a public company. Same thing with a person. We're public right now, but we became public. At once, we were private citizens. We were private citizens. It's just they made it into public, switch everything into the public sector. And then in that public sector, they gave you public education so as to keep you within that public sector. But then you have families, you have people that were in the private sector. You know, just again like a company. You're a company and you're a private company. When you form a company, form a private company, and then you go public, and then you go into the stock market. You get your three letters, and you're in the stock market. You're a public company, IPO, and people can buy stocks and trade and this and that. You become a public company, like Amazon or AMC or any company that's gone public. Same thing with an individual. The only thing they put us in the public sector because we are the collateral for the bonds, the stocks, and the bonds that are being traded to another company, which is the Federal Reserve. That's how the Treasury system works. They have to get the president is is executive branch, a representative, and he's the one that signs in the Treasury Department, and your secretary, the ones that sign that bill, that note, those are bond paper that are traded. There's a trade on that. It's called the U.S. stock market. You know, so there's a lot to how money finance. So it's good to have a general idea of how it works or whatever. And then when it comes to your personal finance, understand one thing. If you got children that are young, or children that are in the 30s and 40s, you want them now and tell them, listen, don't make the same mistakes I've done. Right now is when you need if you're making money, and instead of putting it in the bank like that or spending it foolishly, put into a whole life insurance. Put into a legacy in the future. And then you can also, and that's just one stream. Then when you deal with the cryptocurrencies, another stream. You can build your wealth with bitcoins. But then if you want to use some of that cryptocurrency, then there's an exchange. You can exchange it over to Ethereum. Or depending on what industry you're going to, you exchange it to that coin. But Bitcoin is like the gold. You know what I'm saying? So there's a lot of definitions and a lot of strategy. This is just information. But to actually every day to do it, again, those different streams. I'm behind because I'm learning about crypto exchange, that stream, crypto exchange. And when you go to Weibo, they have a section for that. Crypto exchanging. You know what I'm saying? That's in that that's a trading. That's a format. Okay? And people making money off of that. Then you have what we call the stocks, the market, the stock market, and paper trading, option trading. And you get to, right now I'm just learning about all this is something they don't teach in school. You know, unless you're in it. But this is something at a young age we got to educate ourselves about this. So a lot of us probably say, "Oh man, I mean, this is so much." If man, they give up. I'm not gonna. I don't want to give up. I want to learn what I need to learn. If I can't get there, my kids are gonna get there. You know, they're gonna get there. And you want to make sure too that they are responsible with that particular knowledge. Because once you get into all that, you know, you're gonna be. It's gonna make you responsible for a lot of things. You're not gonna want to screw it up. You know. So different streams. You know what I'm saying? You if you work 9 to 5, fine, but you can do other things after 5 o'clock to bring in another stream. You know, there's people that get on, they got it so down packed that they get on and they'll make $150 or $250. Some people make $1,000. I mean the big wheels, like big investors or option trading company, big ones, they're making tons of thousands of dollars a day, hundreds of thousands of dollars a day, because they can do that at that particular, you know, level. But if you're on the everyday level here, you know what I'm saying? There are people that are making $100 a day extra for 30 minutes. Or for a couple of days that I set my expiration date for 2 days. Right? And I say and I put either a put or a call, and I watch this stock do its thing. And then you say, well, in 2 days from now, the stock is going to be at here or close to here. When it gets to close to there and expires, you can now you accumulate a profit, and you take that and put into, and you keep going, you're building that up. So you got people out here making like about $100, $150, or $200 a day for just 30 minutes, and then they'll go to work on something else. Perfect for musicians. Perfect for housewives. I take a lot of 30 minutes while the kids are eating or something, to get on there and put your calls and put some calls in and work the stock and work the option trading. And you work into it becomes where you're making that $150 a day or $200 a day. It becomes simple, because now you got the game down. You know what I'm saying? You got the strategy. And there's people that's doing it. No people doing it for many years. They got to a point that they don't have to go to work for anybody. They just sit home for about an hour or two on the computer and watch this graph and watch the stock market and put puts and calls and research. You got to research and see how the market is moving. So you got to see how people is moving, how society is moving, all of that moving. You have to be aware of that. So it takes, you take some time out. That's why I used to see a lot of these guys going to, in New York, the Wall Street Journal. And these guys reading the stock market, the Wall Street Journal, what do you think they were doing? Because they were option trading. They were trading with their stock. They were trading their stocks. And this is what they did. This is how they made the extra money while going to work. I'm checking it out. And then when I get to my office, I'm going to make that call to my broker. Or I'm going to get on the computer and I'm going to actually make the call of the put. You know what I'm saying? And they're making money. Before they have a cup of coffee in their hand, they're sitting in the office and making their money. And then still on the clock. I mean, So, getting, so if you could teach your children now, or ones that are 30 and 20, 25, 22, 30 years old, even up to 40 years old, is a good idea for them to now get into whole life insurance for the future, and at the same time learn these skills. So even if they want to go to work, before you go to work, you have coffee, breakfast before you go to work, take 15 to 30 minutes, and you put in your calls and put that. But the night before, you already did your research and says, I'm going to watch this stock. I'm getting a hot tip on this stock. And you got people that come together and they discuss about stock. What's hot? What do they think about this? Man, what's, you know what I'm saying? And then you look at the news, the stock market news. I like the Bloomberg channel. And you see how these companies are moving in the world market. And that'll give you an idea. So the next morning you get up, you says, I'm ready. The minute I open, and then in between 9 or 3 o'clock, you in between that time you take 30 minutes, a block of 30 minutes within that time, and you do what you got to do, and you're good for the day. Then if it expires in 2 days, that starts, to get his readout, the stock, and then if you made in 2 days, you made the money, and you keep on there, on and on, and then you have to learn how to exchange that money, because again, taxes comes into play and stuff like that. But there's ways to do that, because you could take that and put it into a whole life insurance, bro, for 10 years if you're young. Me, when I'm 70, if I do what I got to do now, by the time I get 75, man, I can have this and that and that and that. You know what I'm saying? So it just takes strategy. I'm learning a lot of stuff because I just want to share it to the younger generation. You know what I'm saying? That's the strength. You draw your strength from that. So there's a lot of, again, different streams. I'm looking into making, I'm learning about branding also, about, branding so like I'm a musician, I play drums, so I want to make some t-shirt, but I'm also a spiritual teacher in some sense. You want to talk about that, like I want to incorporate that with the drumming. Your persona. You have to brand your persona. When you brand your persona, and you have to make it so that it can relate to other people. And when you relate to the people, they marry it. So that I want to do that with music too. That's what I'm saying. I want to take these small steps. First of all, if I'm to do any promotion, I want to make sure I got merch. Even I'm doing promotions, I want to make sure I got a table for merch, either for the artists if they have their own merch. If they don't, I'm want to have my merch up there. Because at the promotion, at the whole persona, you know what I'm saying? It has a lot to do with that. So I want to make sure I got that merch up in there, because there's people that's if it's gonna create a night of beautiful memories and you want to cherish that experience, you buy an artifact to cherish that experience. So when you go to a concert, a big concert, Beyonce, and oh man, you're having a beautiful experience, Michael Jackson, then they have a merch area. They sell merch because you want to. That's how you see the teacher, Pink Floyd. I was at the concert, so. That's merch. That's important. So you want to, even if you're a promoter, you know what I'm saying? Jazz promoter, there's some ideas that I have. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of, either you can pay somebody to do it. You go to, I think, a Fever, something like that. Good site. Um, you can go on that site and you can have artists there that give you that service. So I want to create a silhouette of for instance, that picture that I have here. I don't think I have that picture here. Let me see. I do have that picture. Matter of fact, I do have that picture. Let me see. Yeah. See this photo here? I want to create a silhouette. You won't see my face. You'll see that just the Emma, right? And there, and then that'll be a silhouette. You know what I'm saying? That'll be black. You know, it won't exist my. You won't see my face. You'll see the Emma and stuff like that, and then put something up here. Words up there. I'm working on it. And then there's one of me playing drums. I could take that also. See, is that it? No, that's not it. So you can create these silhouettes. Anyway, guys, share this video if you want to, and like the video. Again, this is my Cash App. Be a stranger. So I just did that for fun. So it's let me see. Oh, what's up? So I know people was watching. So yeah, I mean, there's so many streaming. You know, your online store, your shop. I like what Tito Puente is doing. He's branching out. He's creating that stream. You know, I tell him, bro, there's other ways to make, other streams. You gotta have a couple of streams of making money. For instance, also your credit. You know what I'm saying? You learn about credit. Credit is gold. So you fix your credit. I'm fixing up my credit very well. It's growing. And I already got 4 accounts open. I need another one because you need 5 accounts open in order to get that credit so they can do credit reporting and get that credit moving up. Get into Experian Booth. It gives you an idea of what you need to do. Experian Boost. Great app. I use that app. And it helps my credit up, and I'm kind of, and credit card also, but better Experian Boost. And it's linked up to my banks and the accounts and whatever, and they watch it, and it goes up. It goes up, and it's almost like the stock market. You betting on yourself. I said I'm gonna go up. I'm not gonna use so much of my credit. I'm gonna keep it at 30%. Every card that's registered with this with the credit bureau, I want to keep it all at 30%, so they can see it. Oh, I need 30%. I don't need that. Then when you get that credit, bro, you build that up, and then that helps you get your whole life a better rate for your whole life insurance, a better car rate, a better house. Or if you go to business, you go to the bank, and you want to get business. It's all about that. People with money that want to lend you money or help you use your money, or you can use their money, wants to know that you're responsible enough to use it. And the way they see that is through credit reporting. You want to make sure, you know. So there's a lot. Learn as much as you can about that whole credit, and that could become a stream in the future. It save you so much money in the future. Become a stream, a way to draw wealth and put into something and create a strategy. It could become a strategy. You know. These are just things that I'm learning right now because I'm not one of your business guru, and I'm not so well off. You know what I'm saying? No. I'm right now learning. I'm getting back on that bicycle, and I'm starting to pedal, and I'm saying to myself, if you're seeing that little trailer that I did, right, for CeeLo Music, and you see that it says, as I look to the past, I look at my mistakes and things that I did in the past, all mistakes and all that. But when I look at the mirror, I'm looking at a strength. I'm looking at the future, the possibility in the future. And that's the way it is now. But you have to find like-minded people and see how they're moving and see what you can do. That's what I'm saying. I'm one part here. I'm gonna learn editing and learn everything right and create content like that, so I can offer this service. It becomes another stream. And again, reaching out to certain businesses out there that you can tell them, look, I can do this. I can get you. I can create a trailer for you, a commercial for your trailer, and I can post it on here and there and there and there and there, and we can work together. We can work together on this. Become responsible for certain things and push it. Create that stream, that currency. So much. Thing is to never say to yourself, I want something, because then that only solidify your lack of. And you learn this, again, let me segue back, in Christian Science, they teach this, you know that? When you go to what they call the prosperity, prosperity. A lot of organizations teach this. I think the Mormons teach it in the Latter Day Saints schools or Scientology schools. They teach a prosperity. It's a certain class about prosperity. Very interested. I got into it, you know, in the science of mind. You know, spiritual science, spiritual living, in the Center for Spiritual Living, Science of Mind that I was involved with for a while because I was learning, and they teach a lot of this Christian Science, and they got biblical quotes to back that shit up too. There's a quote I'm gonna get it too about increase my borders, something like that. It deals with money, finance in biblical text. They go that deep into it. You know what I'm saying? They know how to extract that. Look at an ancient Kemet. Look at ancient Kemet. They got people got down. You know what I'm saying? Come on, gold rims, gold, solid gold rims on chariots. Yo, solid gold rims on chariot, gold plated chariot with gold and emeralds and tink wood, the best of wood. Tink wood in Lebanon. Yo, they were getting it down. You see that pharaoh or that king and the soot coming down the block, coming down with a gold chariot and Arabian horse and Basofino horses. You know what I'm saying? That they got down ancient time. Mansa Musa down. They say that when Mansa Musa came into certain cities, they shut it down. The finance, the market got, whew, they caused an uproar because all his soldiers and his entourage were lit with gold, lit. They went to the city and they started buying up shit, lit. Imagine that. Imagine your family. Imagine your tribe, your family, your people around you, and you're lit getting it down like that. So wherever you go, you bless that environment flourishes. That's what I learned with Pana Baya. No, wherever he did, wherever he went, he had it like that. Because he had a couple of streams. He learned about stock markets too. He worked in Wall Street. He was working a lot in Wall Street. He was learning that. At the same time, he had bookstores. At the same time, he was publishing books. He had different streams coming in. Then he put his money, remember, for the fruit stand where I was at, he upstate, they had bought an apple vineyard and bought all those apples. I remember. And we were selling apples like crazy and making apple juice like crazy and selling it and giving it away because he had it like that. It was, it was a wealthy man. You can do that. You know? Wealth is health, and a good health is attractive. Anyway, my people, I guess I'll leave it there. But anyway, I want everybody, I don't want to go out too much like that. I don't know. Maybe on Sundays I'll do a thing and church thing, talk about shows with biblical quotes and whatever. Because our science is in that. Our culture, our nature is in that. It's just they took that nature that we have and added, they diluted it, polluted it, diluted and polluted it, and eluded it with illusions. And so you have to find that balancement in there, and you got to put those pieces together. And that's, some of us are trained to do that. That's schooling. And I'm talking to some of my brothers. We were trained to do that. So let's share it, you know, and let's build on top of that. So, you know, I'm checking out certain people, and I'm saying, like, yeah, I would definitely like to build further, because as I grow, and I like people that are on startup, you know, people that are getting going, because that gives you more energy to go. There are people that already, you know, that they're established here and there, and sometimes they get bored. But they look for people that are like enthusiastic, and they look for people that want to start something. That's a good mind, because you watch that person and you said, man, that person got the energy, want to start something, and then you give them you kickstart them, and you see what kind of ideas and stuff, and say, well, we can make this idea work. We can make this profitable for everyone. You know, man, it's getting chilly out here. Um, well, I've been on here for almost an hour and a half, and this is just a night. You know, it's nice. I'm in my balcony. It's a little chilly out here, so temperature is changing out here. I'm getting ready to go in. I'm watching behind the music. You know, certain artists is behind the music. I tell their story. You know, a lot of their stories. A lot of artists, they always concentrate on them. A lot of stories deal with a lot of the shadow self, grief, guilt, shame, and a lot of that. A lot of successful people know about this and were able to transcend that, was able to change that. It's almost like an alchemist's mind. We're able to transform that. That's a power that we have, the power of transmutation. And that's at the sacral center, you know that? And it has a lot to do with pleasure and guilt. That power that we have of transformation, transmutation. And that's dealing with alchemy also. You know what I'm saying? Because it's reciprocal. It's gonna be reciprocal to your pituitary gland. That sits over all your glands and make sure that everything sits on that throne, and make sure that everything is leveled down and good with your organs, and not only with your organs, with your what you view out here, your environment, because it's watching all those organs that are that is also attached to those energy centers. It's let me tell you something. It's a myriad of different a myriad of different techniques, a array of different frequencies. You know, it's not just one frequency, it's many different frequencies being moving at paces, circular, moving in your body. You never see the energy center lined up like the way they show them, like for instance here. See how that's lined up? You never see that, because it's all interchanging. It's all, you know, when you look at Curlian photography, they don't show that like that. No, they show it moving and pulsating. It's a lot. It's pulsating, and then there'll be one, depending on your thought and the color, it moves. You know what I'm saying? It's going like this. Those wheels are move. That's what you see. Yeah. Anyway, hey, peace and blessing to you all. You know. Let me see what else I got here. And like I said, man, just you know, when you so like the video, and I'll be speaking with you at a later time. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna look a little rugged and rough over here. But I definitely want to also get into concentrate on the morals and ethics, appropriation, and the reason why I've been holding back on that a little bit For anybody going to see this later who is involved with that, is because I'm doing the research paper called white paper, research paper. It's a white paper, and once I've got that completed, I'm gonna discuss that with a panel of elders. We're gonna discuss it, and we're gonna see how we can put this out for. Because this is a research paper. This is what they call white paper. Some of them call it the black paper, because what this does, and you know, black paper works, because black is the absorption of everything, and the possibility of anything to come out of there will come out of blackness, right? So black paper, we can name it that, you know what I'm saying? But for the conventional purposes, because these are papers that go out to law schools and institutions like that, and government institutions, papers that go out because it's a research paper that you put out there. And then when they look at that, they look, well, what research has been done on this, and you know, what is this? You know, we're searching, again searching for a process here, and we're dealing with the appropriation, judicial appropriation. That's one of the discussions that we want to have. So this is a more of an ethic appropriation committee, and we're going to discuss judicial appropriation. And then we have cultural appropriation. We're going to discuss those things, and that's, I think, very, very important, because like I said, you know, it's instructions, and it's for the future, and to make sure that our children are right and they're not being misformed. Because when you are misformed and you're being fed a lot of this, it kind of hinders your health and your wealth. Yeah, it hinders, it damages, and it hinders your wealth, lies, because then you're eluded by illusions, and you're easily to become scammed. That's taking your energy, that's taking your worth, right? That's taking your finance. So you want to be able to have this mindset that it's based. We got all the pieces covered. You know what I'm saying? You got all these pieces covered. So truth is very powerful, man. The truth is powerful, and that's why I get on here and I discuss, because you got some very hardworking people, but are they leaving a legacy for their children? That's the question. And you as wealthy as those around you. You know what I'm saying? We're social beings. We're meant to social. We're meant to connect, because we're one. You know, you know what was interesting? Just recently, what is this? A couple of civilians went up to space, and they came down and they interviewed that young lady, and she says, "Man, the thought that I've got when I went out to space and looked back on Earth is that we all one. It's like looking at us from a different perspective. Like we're one on that planet. Especially when you start descending, coming down. Once when you start going up, and you look back, and you're like, whoa, right? You look at the Earth, and then you coming back down. You say, wow, we are, and you separate. You know, it does something, because the magnetic forces here were one of the shadow effect that it has. Moon is separatism. So they can cause a separatism. That's the reason why, and like with percussion and Yoruba tribe dances and get that energy up, because it can cause separatism. They want to unify the people as one. But it can cause you to separate. So when you separate yourself from what's around you, right, that perspective, right, you know what happens? It breeds racism. Oh, I would say racism. It breeds separatism. It breeds judgment. You know, it breeds some very unfavorable conditions on this earth. So I found that very interesting. I was like, wow, man. You know, that was very, very, very interesting when this Mitchell came down and said that. But then you know that there are ancient texts And how do they know? And when they talk about us being as a one people, when they go into physics and they go into they separate the physics into molecules and atoms and whatever, but then when they go into the metaphysics, they start seeing the unity in all of that, and it's their mind start expanding in a different way. They start transcending, beyond transcending and seeing everything from that global perspective. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, peace and blessing, y'all. I've been on here, spoke. I don't know who came on, but anyway, love you all, man. And let's keep going, man. Let's do it. I had a great day today. It started kind of funny. I'll tell you, I had a great day, and I just again making connections. Getting out there, making connections, and try to bring pieces together. Okay, so I'm gonna leave you there. Peace and blessings, y'all people. I love you all, man. Diansihibui. Ashuk. Okay? Amor, te quiero mucho. Love and peace.